So, if you've been watching the channel, you've seen that I'm working on a game called Pukeapocalypse, which is a very sort of acid, vomit, punk, neon, sort of grim world. And I had previously painted a bunch of minis for the gangs for this, but I was painting them in a very Ink 28 old school, lots of inks, quite sort of grimy style, which really fitted in with the Ink 28 end of things I was trying to reference with the game. But one of the primary motivations, one of the primary sort of references for the game overall, is the work of Sean Asterberg, the extreme neon, dark light, punk metal posters. Of that sort of end of things, that sort of look. Now, Mike Hutchinson, being a splendid friend, for my birthday gave me a board, set of buildings, and these two gangs of minis for playing Pukeapocalypse with. Now, I don't know how you can still see these, but I'll put some pictures up of them on the video. They're intentionally sort of not overly detailed. He's intentionally painted them so that they have a very sort of blocky, graphic quality to them. And obviously he's painted them in these very extreme sort of neon colours, unrealistic skin tones, just generally sort of an intentionally unrealistic look to them, which I absolutely love. And it's inspired me to go back and repaint the minis that I'd previously done to use for the game. So I've been back in, I've re-undercoated them all white, but I want to go even more extreme than what Mike's done here. There's quite a few people who have recreated the Dungeon Degenerate Sean Asterberg looking minis, but for me, they've gone for quite sort of relatively realistic tones. They've picked the artwork that has more color and detail and shading. So obviously, first of all, I'm going to be using all of the most neon and bright and highly coloured sort of standard paints that I've got. But I want to go more extreme. I want to do something a little bit beyond that. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using these guys, a set of fluorescent craft paints to really punch things up a little bit more. But I want to go beyond that. I want to go a bit more sort of mixed media. I want to use some unconventional materials, some unconventional colours. I want to be punk with a painting style. So aside from the paints, I'm going to be using these guys, and I'm going to be using a selection of these guys to try and create a really sort of extreme, unusual, highly coloured, vibrant tone and sort of feel for these minis. And obviously I'm going to try and film it, put it together, and we can see what the results are. I'm looking for something pretty extreme, so hopefully it will be an enjoyable watch. So here we go. Okay, so the first guys I'm going to repaint are this little band, the Girls. They are mutants where the mutationists take on a very feral, animalistic tone. So we've got these collection of Island of Dr. Moreau minis. Now, one of the things I love about Sean Aberg's art is that he takes on completely sort of incorrect ways of shading and colouring. Sort of he breaks a lot of the rules, which is what's so cool about his artwork. And particularly I keep looking at this picture of a troll from Dungeon Degenerates, where basically it's red and green shading to give this idea of the angry sort of flesh underneath and the sort of green mutation on top. And so I've got these two guys, fluorescent red and fluorescent green. And I'm going to go for the skin tone being fluorescent red and the fur and sort of raised skin being fluorescent green. I genuinely don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm not doing tests on these colours. I just want to go ahead and see what I get. So I'm going to go right ahead and try this out and see what happens. Okay, so that's the first layer of the sort of skin tone for the girls. I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but I mean, I knew that the coverage was going to be not great on the hobby paints, but this is a little bit more sort of streaky maybe than I was expecting. I don't know, it's an interesting effect. Obviously, this is just the first layer. And obviously, to try and get sort of the brightness in the colours, I've had to go with undercoating white. And always that can give a sort of a weaker sort of feel to the coverage. But I think with the second layer, it's going to turn out. I'm surprised, actually, how nicely it's worked for some of the sort of areas of fur and such. So that does give me hope for when I'm going to go in and I'm going to dry brush with this neon green. Okay, so I've been in and got the red skin effect, the neon red skin there with a few layers. It took a few layers. I've noticed that the craft paints are much thinner. They're almost like contrast paints. I'm just using the neon green here to dry brush over the fur, the raised areas, the raised details, to give that sort of green versus red effect that I was looking for. Okay, so we've got the clothes with the neon green on them now, the dry brushed fur, and I'm just going in and black lining around all the meeting points to give it that really sort of graphical effect, the hard black lines between all the various bits and pieces. And here we are, a finished unit of doggos ready to go on the tabletop and get puking.